Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic. This is going to be a new kind of video for my channel. It's something I had a lot of fun making, and so I think it might become a regular thing. As long as I can remember, I've always loved going to used bookstores and garage sales to hunt for science fiction, horror, and fantasy books, along with old comic books as well. Some of these books I've shown on my channel in the past, but I've never made a video of my book hunting. So I've decided to go ahead and make one. Coincidentally, for my first time filming a video like this, I came across two really good finds. And it just must have been fate, since they are both Dune books. I hope you enjoy the video. So starting things off, we're here at Value Village. And Value Village is a pretty good place to go. There's a lot of good books that come through here. You got to continuously hunt, but I found a lot of gold here. And there's always a lot of Star Wars books come through here. Star Wars, The Truce at Baccarat. Now, I read this book over 20 years ago now, and I don't remember nothing about the storyline. It was totally forgettable. But a lot of used Star Wars books come through here. The Last Command, that's supposed to be another really good Star Wars book. Now, I have that trilogy, but I haven't read it yet. And here we go, another one, Here to the Empire. Now this is volume 1. That's in pretty good shape actually for a used one. That doesn't look too tattered at all. Brian Jacques, The Bellmaker, A Tale of Redwall. Now I've only ever read Martin the Warrior, but I love the look of these books. These covers are just fantastic. I hate the new ones. I hate the newer covers. I can't stand them. And then Game of Thrones, lots of those around here. And a sci-fi book, Rediscovery, by Miriam Zimmer Bradley. That's interesting. And what else have we got here on the shelf? Another Star Wars book. Now this looks like an old sci-fi book club edition. You can usually spot them because they're smaller than the regular ones. And this one, I would pick this one up, but it looks pretty tattered. It actually looks like it's got some water damage, which is too bad. Because I would definitely get this one up if it was in better shape. But that one's pretty busted up. And what have we got here? We've got Dune by Frank Herbert here at the end. Now this version of Dune pops up a lot actually at Value Village. There must have been a lot of these put out. Now I've already got a few copies of that one, and that one's pretty dinged up. But right next to it, God Emperor of Dune, and that's in good shape. So that one I'm going to buy for sure. That is a must-have. That's in really nice shape. A few dings on it, but not bad. So I'm getting that one for sure. Another Game of Thrones, 2 copies of Game of Thrones in there. What else have we got? Hell's Gate. Now, Bane, their covers are amazing. Their books have like fantastic covers. Like that's a really cool cover. I love the cover for their books. That's a really nice one. And what else have we got here? Millennium. Now I don't know if this was a movie first, then a book, or the book came out first, then the movie. But that's interesting. That's a maybe. I might pick this up. I'm just going to put it aside. That might be a pickup. I'm not sure. And then we've got Star Trek The Next Generation, Imzadi. Now, this is a book that is frequently on most Star Trek fans' top 10 list. This is a favorite among a lot of Star Trek fans. I have this actually in hardcover. Now, I've never read it, but I really have to get around to reading that one because I keep hearing that one is really good. And there's always certain books that just constantly pop up. Like you always see Game of Thrones in here used. And what's at the end here? It looks like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Millennium, Fall of Terak Nor, War of the Prophets, Inferno. So an omnibus, pretty tattered up, but if you're on a budget, it's not too bad. Now we got another book here by Miriam Zimmer Bradley, Black Trillium. And this also looks like a sci-fi book club edition. You can usually tell them because their dimensions are different. That's a pretty nice cover. That's actually a really cool cover. I like that cover. It's actually not too bad a shape. Terry Goodkind. He's pops up a lot. His books. I see his books here a lot. Douglas Adams. Oh, what's next to it? So these books here, this is actually a pretty solid fantasy trilogy. I bought these books new when they came out, and they're pretty solid. They're a good one. It's a trilogy of books, and they're pretty good. So that Millennium, that's a maybe, but that God Emperor of Dune, that's for sure. Now, before I leave, I always check out the horror section. Now, the horror section's pretty small here. They don't have a lot of books. It's only 2 shelves. But I always like to check it out anyway, just in case some Bentley Little pops up. Because his books, they rarely pop up. I rarely find them in used bookstores. It's anytime I do, I always grab it because it's just gold. It's always full of Dean Koontz and Stephen King. Horror section. And then usually I'll give like spy, mystery, and all that a quick look, because sometimes they'll mix in sci-fi and fantasy with it. Dan Brown, Inferno. His books, Dan Brown, are so plentiful in used bookstores. If a copy ever gets damaged, you can always replace it, because they always pop up. Now let's see what they're going to have here at the Salvation Army. So I don't come to the Salvation Army much, because they usually don't have anything any good here. Hold on now. What's this? The Oath. I actually have this book in hardcover. I bought it used a few years ago, and it is a nice book. And I bought it because of the cover artwork on the jacket. I love that cover artwork. It looks really cool for a horror novel. It's amazing. Hopefully the book will be as good. I haven't read it yet, but I got to get around to reading it. So let's see what else they got on the shelf. Hold on. What's this? God Emperor of Dune. An old Putnam edition. So I'm going to buy that one for sure. That's guaranteed. It's a little bit tattered, but you rarely find these Putnam editions in the used bookstores, and even rarer still will you find God Emperor of Dune. That is cool. That is gold to find that. That is a buy for sure. No hesitation there. So it doesn't look like to be much else on here. I'm surprised to find that tonight. It's not too often you find anything any good here at the Salvation Army, especially something that good. Oprah Winfrey. What else have we got? Well, there's another copy of The Oath. That one actually looks to be in a bit better shape than the one that I looked at previously. Even has the original sale price sticker on there, $24.99. It is a nice cover. That's a cool looking cover. If the book's as good as the cover, that's going to be a good read. Now, the thing about the Salvation Army is there is no sections. So there's no horror section, there's no science fiction, fantasy section. All the books are all just mixed in together. So you really have to hunt. And it's not too often that you find anything any good. There's more Dan Brown, always lots of Dan Brown, lots of Ken Follett. Daniel Steele, always like a ton of their books here. And everywhere. Every used bookstore you go, John Saul. Because I don't think people really collect Daniel Steele. There might be some, but I think they're kind of like more disposable paperbacks. People just read them once and then they just give them away. More Ken Follett. Lots of Ken Follett. They're always pretty plentiful. James Patterson is another one. A lot of his books pop up in used bookstores. A lot. Now we're just getting into cookbooks. Top 10 on everything 2001. Our Universe. Easy cooking for today. More like craft books, cooking books. Doesn't seem to be too much else here that I would be interested in anyway. I know everyone's tastes are different. And it just seems like Value Village gets a lot better books than the Salvation Army. And the Salvation Army, they don't really have a big used books section either. So that doesn't really help. But that's why I don't come here too often. So there's not much else here. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for the Salvation Army. Now let's finish things off at Goodwill. Now Goodwill is a little bit better than the Salvation Army for books. I found some pretty cool stuff here as well. Star Wars, A Galaxy of Fear. That is a cool looking book cover. I'm almost tempted to collect this Galaxy of Fear line because the covers that I've seen so far are pretty cool. Like, that's a cool looking cover. I looked at this one the last time I was here. And they also had a couple of copies, hardcover copies of Star Wars Vector Prime here, but I see they've been scooped. Somebody got those. And same thing like the Salvation Army. There is no rhyme or reason to their books. Everything's just everywhere. So you really got to look through the whole thing. Like, they got just some random Archie comic in with the cookbooks. And a bunch of kids' books there on the bottom. Dean Koontz, Saint Odd, part of the Odd Thomas series. Laura Bush, Staying Young. Tom Clancy there in with the cookbooks. So it's just everything everywhere. Home brewing for dummies. That's interesting. Yeah, more cookbooks. Then we got more kids' books here on the bottom. 101 Dalmatians. The Zoo. Doesn't seem to be much here. And they don't have a big used book section either. They're kind of like the Salvation Army. Excel 97 for dummies. Now, who would pick this up? Like, unless there's some odd collector market for these books, I can't really see what these books would be good for because the knowledge is so outdated in them. Maybe like starting a fire. So what is this C.S. Friedman? The Alien Shore. Have to have a look at that. That looks cool. Now that is a really nice looking cover. That's some pretty cool artwork. The Alien Shore. Never heard of this book. That's a nice looking spine. And that is some really nice jacket art. Half tempted to pick this one up, but I think I'll just stick it back on the shelf. Try as I might. Or maybe I'll just lean it up there. That's good enough. So check out the last few shelves they got here. Yeah, it doesn't look like they really got anything in this week that's any good. A couple of things caught my eye. Stephen Colbert, Kim Harrison. More kids' books there at the bottom. All just kind of random Star Wars book in there. More kids' books. Now, there might be something hiding in behind these piles. Have a quick look. Nope, nothing in there. Have a quick check in behind this pile. See if there's anything any good hidden in there. And nope, nothing in behind that one either. More cookbooks. J.D. Robb. Now, this looks like a whole run of books here. This is interesting. These look cool. I've never heard of this author or this book series. J.D. Robb. Attention, she thought her killers enjoyed it. Indulgence in death. That's interesting. Might have to put some research into that one later, see what that's all about. Gray. Now, I saw that one at the Salvation Army. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for the Goodwill. Nothing there tonight. So, not a bad couple of finds for a night out book hunting. God Emperor of Dune, Putnam edition. Really happy to find this one. Now, it is somewhat tattered, but not too bad. I just couldn't leave it behind. Because you rarely come across these old Putnam editions. So I'm glad I found this one. And God Emperor of Dune. This is in really nice shape, this one too. And I've seen another version of this that doesn't have the raised lettering in gold. And as for that Millennium paperback, I decided to put that one back on the shelf. I didn't end up getting that one. but these 2 finds I'm pretty happy with. So not bad for a casual night of book hunting. So that's everything I have to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.